Welcome, Cougar fans. We are here today with Josh Snyder, Director of Athletics at the University of Sioux Falls, who is now entering his 14th month. Welcome, Josh.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
My name's Dan Ganser. I'm the Sports Information Director at USF. We're going to go over the past year here at USF and what lies in the future. Josh, let's go ahead and get started. You know, one of the things that always rises up about the University of Sioux Falls is the academic prowess of our student athletes here, which has been extraordinary this year. When you think about 13 Miles Brand Award winners, second in the conference, and we've had something like 140 different student athletes be named academic all-league, and then on top of that we got the Elite 89 winners that you can discuss. Talk about what makes these students not only stand out in the classroom, but on the field.
Well, I think, it starts with our coaches and the student athletes that they recruit. I mean, the prospective student athlete we recruit, we go after good ones, and because we know that's a big part of it. We want to recruit student athletes that are going to come in and do a great job and get a great, do a great job here, get a great job afterwards, and be contributing members of society and to USF down the road. And I couldn't brag enough about our student athletes. It's phenomenal. When you look at the size of our institution, we're one of the 2 or 3 smallest schools, maybe the smallest, I'm not exactly sure, but in our conference. And as far as numbers of student athletes, we're probably in the bottom half in the numbers of student athletes, yet we are consistently second or third in the number of all conference honorees that we have, Miles Brand Award winners that we have. Our volleyball team just had a 3.82 GPA this past semester, I believe. Over half the team had a 4-point. We've got 3 Elite 89 awards going to Billy Brockmuller in his career and 1 to Tavia Rutherford. Those are awards that are given to the highest GPA and most credit hours of any student athlete that qualified for an NCAA championship at that specific championship. The most you can win is 1 a year. You have to be a sophomore, so the most you can win is 3 in a career. Billy won 3. Tavia most likely would have won 3 if she had qualified for the NCAA championships, which she missed by this much her sophomore and junior year. So you look at that, I mean, it's amazing. We had a Board of Trustees meeting, a month or so ago, and I had 10 or 15 minutes slotted to me, and I think after about 15 or 20 minutes, I was still just talking about our academic prowess of our student athletes. So I had to cut it short, but it really is a great sense of pride for us, and we have tremendous student athletes that achieve on the field as well as in the classroom, and it's fantastic.
One of those athletes that's achieving, just came out an article in the Argus Leader, I think today, Bobby Brockmuller, who's open. He's graduated. He got a couple of degrees. He finished just a tad below his brother Billy, but was USF's first cross-country champion, one of many awards during this past year, which we'll get into in a bit. But he is an example of the success that these students get into right away after they leave the University of Sioux Falls.
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, poor Bobby, right, to be in the shadow of his twin brother Billy, who I joke because Bobby did win a conference title in cross country, was also an All-American, and as you said, has been an entrepreneur and started a business while he was a student athlete. And I mean, if you don't have enough time on your hands as a student athlete, and as a runner on top of it, I mean, think of the hours he spends just running on a daily basis, a weekly basis, in the classroom to maintain close to a 4.0 average with a triple major or whatever it was. And on top of that, he started a business that's grown so much. It started as an internet business that he actually opened a shop, and now I believe he's opening maybe not a second, but a new store here in Sioux Falls when he graduates, or now that he has graduated. It's really remarkable. We've got some amazing young people on this campus, and there's some prime examples.
We mentioned Billy and Tavia. They were the USF no-brainer here, as some people have told me. The USF Athletes of the Year, both Billy winning 3. Not only the 3 Elite 89 awards, but he was a 3-time All-American. And that just builds into what we want to talk about now, and that's the team success. Not only those two, Tavia going to her first nationals, Billy going to the nationals and winning his second cross-country All-American award. But then we think about football. finished 11-1, Mineral Water Bowl, just out of the playoffs. They had a super year under Jed Studer. Then you've got the teams like golf under Brett Bennett, they finished second, and you have second place finishes for cross country and indoor track and field, and then it just goes on. We had a very good women's basketball season and other sports that just really stood out. Talk about how you feel about those teams and what your expectations are moving forward.
Well, I think, I'm not going to go through the whole list because you did a pretty nice job, but the reality is we have been in Division II now for 4 years. We've been in this conference for 3, entering our 4th. Overall, as a department, we finished 6th in the all-sport standings in the conference out of 16 schools, with, as I mentioned earlier, one of, if not the lowest enrollments of those schools. It's pretty remarkable when you think about it. I mean, I'm not saying 6th place is our end goal, because I think we can do better, and I think we will do better. However, that in and of itself is a pretty nice accomplishment that most people maybe don't necessarily realize. But the next step to me, we've won a couple individual national titles with Bridget Gross and Jager Grant, and we've won a conference title with Bobby Brockmuller, and we've won, we've had some All-Americans, and we've had a lot of fantastic awards, with the Elite 89 award being possibly the most prestigious award that the NCAA offers, because it's based on academics and athletics. But take it a step further, and what's our next step? And I think our next step is to win conference championships. I think that's going to put us into that mix of the top 3 or 4 schools in this conference across the board, and we're knocking on the door. We're right there. I think one's going to happen this year, maybe multiple. I think we're really close in a few sports, and football is a potential. Obviously, we proved last year that we were right there. We lost 1 game in the 4th quarter on the road to a team that finishes the runner-up in the country. We get the chance to redeem that here in Sioux Falls this coming year, and we get the chance to play the other conference co-champion Duluth here in Sioux Falls next year, who's preseason #1 in a recent poll that I just saw. I think the stars hopefully are aligned for us, because we've got our work cut out for us, but we've got a lot of things happening that I think can really put us into that next echelon. And on top of that, there's several sports. I think both our basketball programs, despite men's not having a great season this year and women's probably not achieving quite what they hoped they would, I think they're both in situations where it's not far off. I mean, you get 1 or 2 key pieces and things can change dramatically. And volleyball is close, even despite the depth in our conference. And softball is right there. And I think we're track, finished 2nd. Men's golf finished 2nd, as you mentioned. I mean, I think we're really close, and that's the next step.
This league is as good as it gets. One person referred to me as, could be the SEC of Division II in some respects. But I won't go that far. But it is a good league, and when you look at volleyball, we've made consecutive tournaments. In football, there was really 4, 5, 6 pretty good teams in this league. 3 that were nationally ranked, including the University of Sioux Falls. And then you look at some of the things that happened in track and field. You got to host our first conference meet, and it went off without a hitch, right?
Yeah, it was fantastic. It was really a great event, and I think when we heard feedback from the coaches, they had, one from the other opposing coaches. We had one potential negative that was said to us about, lack of shower space. But that's honestly wasn't even a real negative, because they didn't inform us early enough for us to line that up, and so we still accommodated them. It was just maybe a slight inconvenience. Other than that, we heard great things. We had conference records set. We had meet records set. We had a really good track, beautiful weather. It's fantastic that everything happens inside that track except for the hammer throw. Everything else can happen right there inside that venue, and it's really a remarkable layout. I know how it was designed, and it worked really well. We're looking forward to probably hosting another conference meet in the next year or 2. I mean, Augustana hosts this following year, but we'll talk about it this summer about who hosts in 17 and 18. We're hosting the national championships in 2018, and there'll be some work that we'll do before then. We need to get probably some permanent bleachers. We probably need to resurface the track and, you know, make everything bright and shiny for the national championships. But we'll have the opportunity to host a few things before then as well to really showcase it. You know, we had several thousand people came out. I don't know if we set a conference record for gate or anything like that, but we had a very nice gate, a great turnout, with the football stadium right next to it as a staging area for the student athletes, and the big screen that we can use there to promote our sponsors, as well as to let people know, you know, what's coming up and those types of things. It was really a great event.
You know, Reed Harrisman, head track coach, and then you have Grant Watley in cross country, assistant track. Really did a great job of organizing that. But it's been pretty clear that our coaches have been really good this past year in doing what they do, working with student athletes, getting out and recruiting and representing the University of Sioux Falls students as well. The representation of Sioux Falls is pretty important, right?
Oh, absolutely. We rely on our coaches for so many things. I mean, they're great representatives of our institution in the community, in the state, in the region. And, you know, they are the face of our program going out. I mean, obviously we've got an admissions department that goes out and represents the university, but let's face it, at a small private school like we are, our student athletes are 40% of the student body of the undergraduate population. So they're a big factor, and we've got some great ones. And on top of that, they're successful, they're competitive, they're driven. You know, they do things with a Christian mission and represent this institution and all the things that we stand for. And, you know, they go out and talk about that and recruit the types of student athletes that are good fits here and want to do the right things and be, you know, contributing members of USF, and we couldn't be more proud.
As we move on to a couple other questions, case in point, Caitlin Sawtelle, first multi-event All-American. Solomon St. Pierre, first really Division II All-American we've had. He won 6 of them this past year. We mentioned the academic awards. It just goes on and on. And you know, the number of all-league performers we had happened in every sport. Now, you know, as we get a new year, this spring we had a new emphasis. And one of the emphases is to break out, go from Team USF to a Cougar Pride Club. Talk about why you wanted to get that done and how it fits into what we're doing here in terms of mission and vision.
Well, I think that, you know, a few things. One, we knew, I mean, I was told from the time I came and interviewed that rebranding our booster club and you know, getting something going to really showcase, you know, all that we offer and to get people involved was crucial. And so I knew that from the get-go. I didn't want to rush into something and put something in place in the first couple of months that wasn't what we felt we needed long-term, because I didn't want to have to change it again 6 months later. So I sat on what we had for the first year. And in the meantime, as we were talking, as our staff was talking and I was learning and seeing things, I think we came up with the idea that, you know, a cougar is a lion. Lions are in prides. Cougars, you know, so a group of cougars is a pride. And we wanted to incorporate that because we really wanted to showcase the fact that we're a family, that we're a group of you know, former student athletes, current student athletes, former students, current students, staff, you know, everything, we all go together, and we wanted to create an atmosphere where people felt like they belonged and they were part of it and they contributed to our success. And that couldn't be more true. We rely on our former students and our donors and our fans for the success that we have. And the Cougar Pride Club, the revenue generated from that is a donation. It's a tax-deductible gift that goes towards funding scholarships so that we can maintain the success that we've had to this point. And, you know, scholarships are a crucial part of this business because, you know, the university doesn't survive without tuition revenue. And if athletics is taking all that without giving back, then we are draining from the university. And we need to be contributing to the university. And so to help us do that, we have to raise revenue. And the Cougar Pride Club is a chance for people to be involved, to be part of it, to contribute and be part of our family, but then also help our student athletes have the success that they have and help our coaches go out and recruit and continue that success.
Concerning that, then, is facilities. we've got some growth going on. It's been somewhat of a year that way. We've got a new turf that's going in right now. There's going to be some work done in the Stewart Center. Can you talk about what lies ahead for University of Sioux Falls Athletics in terms of facility?
Yeah, absolutely. We're excited about this summer. We're itching to get to summer so we can get some of these things taken care of that we knew we needed to take care of, and this summer we're going to. And it starts with the turf at the football field. We're replacing the turf that was 10 years old. The subgrade underneath, the drainage wasn't good, so the planarity of the field wasn't up to par, and there were undulations. We had issues every spring with the freeze thaw where we had bubbles popping up that we had to get worked out. It was sinking in some spots on the end, so we really had a situation where it wasn't yet unsafe, but it was probably on that road, and we obviously did not want to have that happen. In addition, we want to showcase our team. We've got a fantastic team coming back this fall with an incredible schedule. As I mentioned, we've got our crosstown rival. We've got the 2 co-champions from last year who are also coincidentally preseason top 5 teams. We've got Winona, who's a traditional power, and New Mary. So we've got a great schedule at home, and we want to showcase that. We've got the returning offensive conference player of the year, Luke Papillion. We've got cornerbacks that are all Americans. We've got all these things going for us that we wanted to make sure it was a tremendous situation, and when people came, they were proud, to be Cougars. And so we're replacing the turf. We've worked with AstroTurf, which has a soy-based bottom layer, which are donors that are farmers are very happy about. And I think in this community in South Dakota, that goes a long ways. There's a lot of soybean farmers here, and so we're excited about that. We've run into a slight snag with the subgrade being even worse than probably expected, and so we're working on fixing that correctly so we don't have this problem in the future. But the turf will be down before the start of the practice in August, and we're excited to keep that project moving forward. We're sitting here in the Stewart Center. It's a little bit warm right now, and as our fans probably know when they've been here, especially for bigger games, even in the winter, it gets warm in this building. The air handling is not great. The air conditioning is non-existent, and there's some things that we need to take care of, and so we're in the process of doing that right now. So come fall, we will have an air handling system in here that can move the air through this building and has air conditioning to keep it the correct temperature so that the floor doesn't get wet and moisture, and fans aren't too hot, and so we're obviously very excited about that too. Those are both big projects and are both taking place right now. We've got a few smaller things as well, some branding and signing initiatives that I think will really help the game environment and the look of the buildings when people come in, and they'll know they're at a Cougar athletic event.
And at the same time, build up the tradition of an institution that dates back to the 1880s, basically.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's a faith-based school that a lot of great things have happened to over the years, and athletics has moved to Division II beginning in 2012, and the NSIC is transition year in 2011. That being said, this is you're now, like we said earlier, this is your 14th month. Talk about how you feel, the comfort level you feel, as well as your family. Tricia and your kids, all of them, they seem to be happy here at home. Talk about that.
We're doing really well. It's a transition. Anytime you move a family, of course, you're buying a new home and you're starting in new schools, and it's a transition for the spouse, of course. Who I have this welcoming immediate family of people that want to get to know me and talk to me and take up a lot of my time. So I don't really have time to think about being lonely or missing friends or those types of things. Whereas my wife, Tricia, has to find a new job, has to be at home worrying about the kids. And are they meeting people? Are they getting acclimated to school? And are they getting involved in activities? And how are we getting them to and from? And how do we get the house in order? And all those things that go with it. So she's a trooper. It's amazing. And I think now 14 months into the job and into being in Sioux Falls, I think we're getting there. I still won't say it's 100%. Obviously, when you live in a place for multiple years, you develop stronger ties. Right. We're not there yet. We're certainly on the road to that. And the kids have some friends, and they're getting involved in things, and they're on sports teams. And it's probably a little more easy for my oldest since she's more mobile. High school lends itself to that. you know, and of course with the driving age here being a little bit younger, she and her friends can drive a lot, so she's more able to get to places and see people. You know, our other two have to be chauffeured, so, but they're getting there as well, and you know, they've been invited to things, and they've, you know, had people over, and so we're getting down, we're getting there. It's good.
Well, we welcome you here. It's been a good year and 2 months, and building on to that. Finally, if you had to say something to alums or anybody else that are sitting out there waiting to support an athletic team, why it's great to be a Cougar, how would you say that? What would you say?
Well, I would just say, you know, we've already talked about so much. I mean, we have tremendous student athletes. I mean, they're so good in the classroom and in the community and on the field. I mean, they're phenomenal individuals, and they want to be supported. You can see their eyes light up when they come into their arena and there's a big crowd and it's a great atmosphere, and you know, we want that on a regular basis. And our fans are, you know, and our alums are the people that can bring it to us. I mean, we can only do so much without them. We need their help too. And you know, they were students here. Many of them are student athletes here, and you know, they understand that. I also get that it's busy. I mean, when you're a 30 or 40 something person with young kids who are involved in activities, you're running all the time. So I understand people can't always be season ticket holders. They can't make it to every single game, but we want to create the atmosphere where it's a good, fun, safe environment for them to bring their kids, so that when they have the opportunity, they can come out and enjoy it, and you know, be a Cougar, join the pride, be part of, you know, our family, and you know, or you know, re-engage as part of the family. So they're never not part of our family.
Thanks, Josh. Cougar fans, we look for the next 14 months to be as productive as this. As we move forward, remember the fall season. Of course, our football team opens with you, Mary, and we have volleyball and cross country opening, as well as soccer. A new coach in soccer, Brittany Goosen, and her staff. So it's going to be an exciting year, and we look forward to it with great anticipation. Thanks for joining us today.